Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Have you ever wondered what games you should sell or you should use? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Find out on our top 10 list what games you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Purge Reviews.
Medieval Mastery. So what we got here is a world that we kind of move around with these dice, and we're going to be looking out to see if you control enough victory points on the board to claim a win. The dice are not rolled for battle or any kind of luck. They're there just to represent troops. This is going to be really a card-based game. You're going to be playing cards down in battle and to move things around and do some extra moves. So each turn, you're able to get a little bit of extra troops. You're going to get very concentrated movement, how you can bring people out of the capital. But at the end of the day, when you go into battle, you're going to want the right cards, and manipulating those cards is going to be a great way to do that. How many troops do you take? You're probably going to want to take out the maximum most of the time. I found the game to be a little boring and bland. It does say it plays up to 6. I didn't play it with 6, but I wonder if that would just be very chaotic. The board does grow with more players, so you have more room. I don't know. I think maybe if you just took this as you're going to go battle things out and that was the main brunt of it, you may enjoy it as a battle game, but I think there are stronger things on the market. In addition, you have these 3 cards, the kind of power cards, but there's a lot of ways to destroy them and not a lot to bring them back into the game. So you start with these kind of cool powers that makes it more asymmetrical, but you're going to lose those throughout the game, and the game is going to go from asymmetrical a little bit to more symmetrical as the game progresses. I don't know that I like that. I like the art on the tiles, but there's very minimal artwork on any of the cards. Most of them are just numbers, like 5, combat or conflict, what they call it. 5, support. 3, support. So that's a little bit boring and bland. So while I really like the artwork on the tiles, the rest of it, is just okay. I think you could pass this one over. I think some people look at it and know instantly that they like it. I just think there might be better games on the market than this. I didn't feel like the decisions were all that interesting, unique, or fun. And it's kind of weird to get the play of it down. You do this, then that, then you do this again, then you do that again. I don't know. And it's restrictive because it needed to be because it was area control, but not so much in a fun way. I think this would have been a good game 10 or 15 years ago. If I was going on a limb, I'd say this is probably a Kickstarter game, or I think it's from a game from a very young company. So I like the box. I have this version of it. I think there's a couple versions of it. The box is very nice. The components are very good. It's going to be a miss for me. I'm going to purchase one out of my collection. First of all, I don't like a lot of conflict in my games, so take it with a grain of salt. But if I'm going to, I don't think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be more of a Zombicide, or I might lean towards a Memoir 44. I don't think it's going to be something like there's just the card play that they have. The theme doesn't really come out to me at all. It's dice. Pulls me right out of it. It's about as unthematic as you can get, maybe cheap sorry pawns. But it didn't pull me into the theme at all. And I just felt like I was moving dice around on a board. Not fun for me. You don't ever roll the dice to figure out how many people you have. It's pretty symmetrical. So the decisions just aren't in this game to make it interesting. You need to get out there and try to battle and hope you play a better card. It's really what it comes down to. So Medieval Mastery is going to be a purge. I'm not going to play it again. I will wash my hands of it. Here are the components for Medieval Mastery. I have the Chaos Publishing. I would assume this is probably the 2nd edition, but it comes with a little bit different box. The artwork on the front is really neat, but it kind of, I don't know, makes me think I'm going to be in some kind of realistic battle, much more realistic than perhaps the game is. You're going to get instruction manuals in different languages, which I personally, I mean, whatever, but this insert is locked in here, and normally I would take these books, slide them under the insert, but this one I can't without ripping it all out, so I didn't. Minor annoyance, but there it sits. You're going to have not a custom inbox, but it's kind of nice how things fit in here. I probably could have done without an insert with this one, but so be it. Each player is going to get a tile, very thick, that has their kind of home on it, their home castle. And that's going to come in a bunch of different colors. They're going to get just regular 6-sided die that will be used as if they are minis or figures. And you're going to get cards. I mean, the cards are going to have pretty much no artwork on them. So very abstract at all. This resource thing is useful. The numbers are useful, but no artwork to speak of. The only thing unique they do is the color and then the word on the bottom here. And there's going to be a number of different colors for people for that. Here's black. I think there's enough to play 5-player. Then you are going to get, or 6-player it seems like. And then you're going to get a number of these cards. You're going to have a set of Crown, Spectre, and Orb. And each player will start with one of these. The icons and art are very generic and just kind of okay. Nothing great. Lots of words. So this game is definitely not language independent. And then you're going to get a number of these tiles. There'll be 1s, 2s, and 3s. That's how many victory points they're worth. And then there'll be a C one. And the artwork is kind of nice on these, I guess. This valley, very good. I mean, just kind of generic and bland. Open countryside. There's a grassland. You know, you're not going to have anybody on them. Homelands. The tiles are very nice quality. Overall, the components are fine. The cards are good. The dice are nice. Everything's just kind of blah. So instead of people, you get dice as your warriors, and you get these, well, nice artwork, very bland and generic. The tiles are nice quality though. So things are nice quality, but there's just no artwork anywhere, which is kind of bizarre. But it works. When you see the game works, you'll see that it's an abstract game, and that's why it works that way. I found the rules to Medieval Mastery to be fairly good. I didn't have any problems playing it. Nothing really came up that was like, I don't know what to do here. The game is actually fairly simple. The player turn is a little bizarre and odd. Not difficult, but just abnormal for me. And I found that as I was going through it, that I got a rhythm with it, but when I was first kind of learning the game, it was a little bit more difficult, but it's a very simple game. So the rules are fine. No issues with that. Okay, I'm going to kind of show you how this game is set up and how it runs a little bit. I haven't done a perfect job of setting things up, but you always have a lake in the center. You've got the dice on the home. So you start out with 6. This guy doesn't have any homelands next to him. They do, so they're allowed to split it up any way they want. And maybe I'll just split it up differently just so I can show you. But it would equal 6. 4 and 2, 3 and 3, or just 6 there. I haven't set the game up perfectly. If you look in the book, there's ways they recommend setting it up. You would never have... Here, these actually should be switched. So I just want to show you quickly how it works. So the first thing you would do on your turn is you would add 3 knights to your castle. So I'll do blue, so I can add 3 knights, just make that a 6, or I could add another die. It makes no difference. And then you will have these cards that are kind of like your hand of cards. You would draw 5 from the top of your deck, and you can look at these. Now what I could do is I could play any resource cards that I have. So I have a resource card here, which is the Authority. When finished drawing, play immediately to draw 2 cards. So I'm done drawing. I would discard that card and draw 2. That's all that card does. I don't have any more resource cards, so I will move on from that. Next thing I can do is use my crowns. Now, when the game starts, there's going to be these cards right here. You're going to get a crown, and you're going to get a specter, and you're going to get an orb. And you're going to start out the game with these. So right now, I could use my crown card. And these cards will just be yours face up. You can use them whenever you want. So use this only once during your turn. Look at the top card of any player's deck you choose. Either leave it on top or discard it. So I could use that power. Now if I had this one, it's another crown. Discard any one card from your hand. And that's another crown. Let me see if I can just show you an example of another one. Here's one. Once during your turn, redistribute your knights once more. So they all have different powers, but you start with one randomly, one crown, and I could use mine right now. Then I can redistribute my knights, which means I can move from my castle or any other area. So say this is a 2. I want to put, sorry, this is a 2. I want to put, say, 3 of those here. So I make that a 1, and I can make this a 5. And if I had, well, whatever color you are, more, I could do that. I can't go into new areas right now. It's just redistributing it. So let me do that with the blue color, because that's who we're playing as. So I might want to go down to 3 and make this a 6. So that's redistributing the knights. And you can do that one time, and then you can make an advance. And that is just moving a number of knights into an adjacent place. So let's say I wanted to move 3 of these knights here. I would put another 3 out here and decrease this by 3. And you're allowed to advance one time up to 6 knights. And you always have to go adjacent. The lake is adjacent, so you just kind of go through it. But it's always adjacent. So little by little, your guys will come out. And when you go on something, you'll have the ability on the icon. So what you'll do is you'll flip to this iconography in the book, and we'll see I just moved into this fortress, which gives me, may discard 1 card from their hand, territory abilities apply. And the reason why you would discard, because the cards you use that you have in your hand, you will if you don't like one of the cards, you can get rid of it, and then you're going to draw up to 5 at the end of your turn. This little shield with the X on it, the start of a battle, the defending player adds 1. So if you're ever attacked here, you always add 1 to your defense, or your attack rather, and this is worth 3 victory points. You're trying to get 13 victory points. So right now, this guy has 4 victory points, because you can see them on here. 3 and 1 is 4. And you're trying to get up to 13. So a lot of these things will do different things. They will destroy things, add to you, allow you to get rid of cards, blah, blah, blah. So if there's any battles, you would do that. Then you would restore any of your artifacts. Now you would have these, your specter and your orb that you had earlier. So this one, the orb, apply this result after the battle. After you lose a battle, place 1 additional knight in your castle. Apply this before playing conflict cards. So you just kind of spread out just like this over and over and over again. So the order of play that you do, let me just kind of show you the order of play here. You would place 3 knights, play any of those resource cards that you had, use your crown. You can redistribute your knights from your castle. Make an advance, which we just did. If there's a battle, you would do that. Then you could play any more resource cards that you have, use your crown again, and then restore your cards where you would tap them. Now the only difference in the game is when you would get to a battle. So say you moved in here and you wanted to battle this person. It's the only other rule in the game is the battle, and you will end up fighting for territory over time. And the way a battle works is very, very simple. When the battle starts, you draw up to 5 cards. Everybody will have 5 cards. I have 6. Let me just get rid of one of these because... Oh, no, I drew an extra 2 cards earlier, so I will have more cards. So this guy actually has 6, but if you had less than 6 or less than 5, you would draw up to 5. At that time, you can use your specter power. Apply this before playing conflict cards when you are the defending player. You may instead battle as though you have the same number of knights on your rival. Right now I have more, being the blue, So I'll just do that. And now you can play any support cards. You see conflict, 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 support. So I can play a support card, and starting with the first player with the lowest combat score, you'd play this. So I'm going to play one of those. And that adds one additional, if you just look at the card here, it will play one additional to my combat score. Plays a support card, add one additional one to your combat score. So the blue now has 4 to the red 2. You compare those scores. You can apply any of your orb powers on your card. After the battle result, whenever you lose a battle, place one additional knight. So 4-2. And then you can also play a conflict card. So in this case, maybe I want to play this 5. Play face as a conflict card, add 5 and place these face down. Everybody would go that. So right now I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the red would do the same thing, and you would compare scores. Defeated player loses a number of knights from the territory equal to the difference between the two. So right now, blue had 9. If the red played no cards, he'd have 2. He would lose 7. He only has 2, so these guys would be gone. Now, if there's any territory bonuses on that, you would apply that. So it's very, very simple. All you do is add the number of knights plus 1 support card and 1 conflict card, and that player, you subtract those numbers, and another player loses that many knights. Very, very simple and straightforward. And the object of the game is just to get area control of these other areas. So the one thing the game was kind of lacking was a player aid, but you will start to understand the turn order very, very quickly of what's going on. And every round, you just get more of these knights here. So this would move up to 6. You start moving them out. You battle if you're in the same place. And once you control a number of areas that equal 13, at the end of a round, you win the game. Who should buy this game? I mean, I really think you need to be a fan of area control for victory points. I think that's a must. You don't mind the lack of miniatures or standees or any kind of thematic components that you're going to be using 6-sided die. That's going to have to interest you. I mean, you get a very, very thematic, cool cover, and then your warriors are just generic 6-sided die. And that's going to pull a lot of people out of it. I don't feel like the gameplay is good enough for me to recommend this to a lot of people. But fans of area control, you're really into that genre and you're looking for something a little bit lighter, this may be it. To each their own. For me, a Purge, an automatic Purge.